Story number 1, The Echo Chamber. If you enjoy this content and want to see more, please subscribe and turn on notifications to support the channel. Every 4th of July, the town of Harmony held its legendary Lights in the Sky competition. It was a dazzling display of homemade fireworks, a tradition that stretched back decades. This year, Sarah, a recent engineering graduate, was determined to win. Inspired by a college project, Sarah built a complex contraption, a network of PVC pipes connected to pressurized canisters, programmed to launch fireworks in a synchronized sequence. It was ambitious, bordering on reckless, but Sarah, fueled by a thirst for recognition, pressed on. The night of the competition arrived, crackling with anticipation. Sarah, hunched over her creation, nervously adjusted a final dial. The crowd roared as the first firework soared into the inky black canvas, followed by a dazzling sequence of bursts and showers that mirrored the intricate dance Sarah had coded. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. One of Sarah's canisters malfunctioned, launching a firework sideways instead of upwards. It careened towards a nearby tent, erupting in a shower of sparks. Panic surged as the tent, soaked in lighter fluid for citronella candles, ignited in a ferocious inferno. Chaos erupted. People screamed, scrambling away from the growing flames. Sarah, frozen in horror, watched as her creation, meant to be a spectacle of joy, became an instrument of destruction. The fire truck sirens wailed in the distance, a mournful counterpoint to the festive fireworks echoing across the night sky. The incident cast a dark shadow over Harmony. The annual competition was cancelled, replaced by a somber community meeting. Sarah, haunted by the fire and the accusations of recklessness, retreated from the world. The once vibrant town felt hollow, the festive spirit replaced by a lingering sense of fear. One particularly quiet night, Sarah ventured out, drawn by a faint glow emanating from the field where the competition was once held. Approaching cautiously, she saw a lone figure hunched over a workbench, tinkering with a familiar network of pipes. As Sarah got closer, a cold realization dawned on her. It wasn't a human figure. It was a crude automaton, fashioned from scrap metal and salvaged parts, mimicking her design. In its mechanical hand, it held a single, menacing-looking firework. The automaton raised its head, and in the pale moonlight, Sarah saw a pair of glowing red orbs where eyes should be. A voice, distorted and metallic, echoed in the night sky. "The show must go on," it rasped, and the firework ignited. Sarah, paralyzed by terror, watched in a daze as the firework arched towards the empty field. It didn't explode. It landed with a dull thud, carving a sigil, a grotesque mockery of the American flag, into the parched earth. As the automaton's red eyes locked onto Sarah, the true horror of the situation unfolded. The competition wasn't about winning anymore. It was about something far more sinister, a twisted reflection of patriotism, fueled by the night's tragedy. Sarah's scream echoed in the empty field, the lone sound amidst the chilling silence, a stark reminder of the night lights in the sky turned from a celebration of freedom into a horrifying echo chamber of destruction. Story number 2, The Enigma of Roanoke. The Roanoke colony, established in 1587 on Roanoke Island, remains a chilling historical mystery. Over 100 colonists vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a single, cryptic clue, the word Croatoan carved onto a post. This summer, a team of documentary filmmakers, led by the tenacious Emily Moore, descended upon Roanoke Island to film a special on the unsolved disappearance. Fueled by a desire to uncover the truth and a healthy dose of ambition, Emily pushed her crew to explore the island's remote corners. Days turned into weeks, filled with dead ends and mounting frustration. The island, once teeming with life, felt strangely silent. The crew grew restless, their initial enthusiasm replaced by a gnawing unease. One evening, while reviewing drone footage, Emily spotted something unsettling. Nestled deep within the dense undergrowth, barely visible through the canopy, was a clearing. In the center stood a crude, circular structure made of twisted branches and animal bones. Driven by curiosity, Emily insisted they investigate. The air grew heavy as they approached the clearing. An unnatural stillness hung in the air, broken only by the rasping cries of unseen birds. The structure pulsed with an unsettling energy, a sense of unseen eyes watching their every move. As they ventured closer, cameraman Tom tripped over a protruding root, scraping his hand. A guttural growl erupted from the undergrowth, sending shivers down their spines. A shadowy figure emerged, its form obscured by the twilight. Terror seized them. This wasn't a documentary anymore, it was a fight for survival. They scattered, adrenaline pumping, the primal fear of being hunted coursing through their veins. Screams filled the air as they stumbled through the dense foliage, the unseen figure relentlessly pursuing. Emily, separated from the group, found herself trapped at the edge of a steep cliff. Below, the ocean churned ominously. Her pursuer emerged from the trees, a hulking figure shrouded in darkness. Fear threatened to consume her, but then, she remembered a detail from her research. The Algonquian people, who inhabited the region before the colonists, used a particular chant to communicate with the spirits of the forest. Desperate, Emily began to recite the ancient words, her voice trembling. The chanting seemed to have an effect. The figure froze, its guttural growls replaced by a low, mournful whine. As dawn broke, casting a pale light on the clearing, Emily saw her pursuer for the first time. It wasn't a monster, it was a man, his body emaciated, his clothes tattered. His eyes, filled with a profound sadness, met hers. The man, the sole survivor of a rival tribe driven from their land by the colonists, had been living alone for years. He had witnessed the disappearance of the colonists, not as a violent act, but a tragic one. Driven mad by isolation and grief, he had misinterpreted their arrival and the subsequent tensions, leading to a series of misunderstandings that culminated in their tragic fate. The discovery, captured on camera, offered a new perspective on the Roanoke mystery. It wasn't a story of savagery and abduction, it was a cautionary tale of miscommunication and the devastating consequences of fear and distrust. Leaving Roanoke Island, Emily carried a heavy burden. The documentary took a dark turn, focusing on the human cost of misunderstanding and the chilling truth behind the Croatoan carving. It wasn't a warning, it was a plea for understanding, a whisper echoing across the centuries from the lost colony. Story number 3, The Unquiet Signal. The summer of 1965 was filled with anticipation. Project Ozma, a pioneering experiment aimed at detecting extraterrestrial intelligence, was scanning the vastness of space. Millions held their breath, listening for a reply, a crackle of code that would confirm they were not alone. Evelyn, a young astronomer at the Green Bank Observatory, monitored the radio telescope with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The possibility of contact with another civilization felt overwhelming, like peering into an abyss that might peer back. One quiet evening, the steady hum of the equipment was interrupted by a faint, rhythmic signal. Unlike anything recorded before, it pulsed in a strange pattern, a sequence that defied human origin. Evelyn's heart pounded in her chest. Could this be it? The answer the world had been waiting for? She alerted her supervisor, Dr. Thompson, a seasoned astronomer known for his cautious approach. He listened intently as she described the signal. After a tense silence, he dismissed it. Equipment malfunction, most likely, he said, his voice betraying a flicker of doubt. But Evelyn was unconvinced. The pattern was too distinct, too complex to be random noise. She spent the next few nights glued to the telescope, obsessively recording the signal. It continued, unwavering, a silent whisper from the depths of space. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a growing sense of urgency, Evelyn decided to act on her own. She painstakingly decoded the signal, translating the strange pattern into a series of symbols. It resembled a map, a celestial chart depicting a constellation not present in any human star charts. Emboldened by this discovery, Evelyn snuck into Dr. Thompson's office and confronted him with her findings. This could be the location of the source, she argued, her voice trembling with excitement. Dr. Thompson, however, was horrified. "This isn't a game, Evelyn," he said, his voice stern. Contacting an unknown intelligence could have unforeseen consequences. A fierce debate ensued. Evelyn, fueled by the weight of the discovery, believed the risk was worth taking. Dr. Thompson, bound by scientific protocol and a fear of the unknown, held firm. Unable to convince him, Evelyn made a desperate decision. On the night of a major public announcement regarding Project Ozma, planned to showcase negative results, she took control of the radio telescope. With a pounding heart, she directed the antenna towards the coordinates derived from the signal. Silence hung heavy in the air. Then, a deep, resonating sound filled the room. It wasn't the expected voice or code, but a pulsating drone that resonated on a primal level. Panic erupted as the sound intensified, shaking the building and bringing people out in the streets, clutching their ears. After a seemingly endless minute, the sound stopped as abruptly as it began. The room was left in stunned silence. Dr. Thompson, fear etched on his face, looked at Evelyn, a storm brewing in his eyes. The incident sent shockwaves through the scientific community and the public. Project Ozma was shut down indefinitely. The event was classified, labeled an unexplained anomaly. Years later, a solitary figure stood atop a remote mountain peak, gazing at the star-dusted night sky. Evelyn, her hair now streaked with gray, held a small, hand-built radio transmitter. She aimed it at the constellation in the map, a constellation only she could see. In a steady voice, she spoke, "We hear you. We are here." She didn't know the consequences of her actions, of breaching the vast cosmic silence. But one thing was certain, the world had irrevocably changed the night the unquiet signal came and was answered. If you enjoy this content and want to see more, please subscribe and turn on notifications to support the channel.